And professional financial services firm KPMG Nigeria is out with a third edition of its report on the top 10 business risks, focusing on years 2020 and 2021. The biennial research report series gathered responses from 108 decision makers from 5 major industry groupings about their views on the potential impact of 31 specific risk issues expected to affect their organizations this year and next. Our partner in the risk Consulting Department of KPMG in Nigeria, Tomi Adepoju, joins us now to share some of the insights there. Thank you very much for joining us, Tomi.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Now, this is the third edition of this report. What is the aim and objectives of this report?
Yeah, the top 10 business risk offers a robust look at the key risks that organizations would face in Nigeria. For this specific year, it's going to help us to be able to see what are the stay-awake issues that business executives should be focused on, considering the backdrop of a slow-growing economy and a generally challenging business environment. We believe doing this would help organizations, prospective investors, policymakers, and regulators to know what these issues are, what are the risk drivers, and what they need to do to be able to mitigate this risk.
Your report noted regulatory, financial and monetary policy, as well as foreign exchange volatility as top 3 risks for 2021. Now, one would have expected to see COVID-19 as top on the list. Could you explain this?
Okay, so if I go back, the reports, we started out the survey in December 2019, and we provided about 31 risks based on what we see in the industry for the business executives to actually assess and vote on which ones we think were high, medium, or low. In the course of doing that, by January, when we were putting the report together, COVID issues emerged, and it was clear that COVID was a black swan that needed to be brought in. So if you look at the report, what we've said is that we have the top 3 plus 1, or top 10 plus 1, because COVID is a major issue globally, and it's also an issue affecting us in Nigeria. So we've actually tried to ensure that if you look at the analysis of the top 10 risks, COVID implications on each of these top 10 risks have been included within the report. We've also highlighted what mitigants are for people to be able to manage this issue. And in KPMG, on a weekly basis over the last 3 weeks, we've also been issuing short thought leaderships on how business organizations can effectively manage the COVID issues specifically.
Some new entrants to the top 10. What were your key findings, basically?
In terms of the key findings, we noticed that the top 3 risks have remained the same over the last 4 years that we've been doing this. This includes regulatory compliance risk, which a lot of business executives have anxieties over. We've seen a lot of fines coming into play, and people are worried that the rate at which regulations are being churned out is going to increase the cost of regulation. We've also noticed that fiscal and monetary policy risk, as well as foreign exchange volatility risk, continue to remain in the top 3 risks, because these are issues that we are faced with. This year already, there's been a devaluation, and people are still uncertain whether there will be further devaluations. The other things we noticed is that generally, the rate of, there's an overall increase in our risk profile in Nigeria. In 2016, when we started, the risk profile was rated as 2.77 out of 5. Today, it's 3.17 out of 5. And mind you, this, because the assessment was done in December, pre-COVID, I'm sure if this were to be done today, it may have moved it even up to 4. So the risk profile in Nigeria is increasing. And we're also seeing new emergence into the top 10 risks. There are about 5 risks this year that have not been there before over the last 4 years. This includes business continuity risk, cyber security, technology infrastructure risk, talent management risk, as well as governance risk. And there are reasons for this. We can see that even with the emergence of COVID, business continuity is a major issue for any business in Nigeria. We've all been at home. Some are working at home for the last 1 month. Some are not doing anything because they've not had the infrastructure. They've never put the infrastructure in place to be able to work outside the office. This is a major business continuity issue that needs to be looked at. Business executives in the past have looked at business continuity as more of an IT issue, but it's beyond IT. It's saying that, can you really carry on your business even if your business premises were to be shut or something happens? And that's what we've seen over the last 1 month. Cybersecurity as well. A lot of people have gone digital. There is a lot of cyber attacks on businesses. And even within this COVID period, we've seen a lot of attacks of people trying to break into systems or servers just to be able to get data or even carry out fraud. So that's another area that needs to be looked at. Talent management is a major issue for us in Nigeria. It takes a lot of time to be able to get the right talent for the right position, even when you're carrying out your interviews. And governance has been an issue. We've seen a lot of attempts by government to come to put in different codes of corporate governance just to enable organizations to be able to do things in the right way that will be sustainable for generations to come. But it's still an issue that we need to continue to grapple with. So these are some of the issues we've seen so far. If I were to look back on hindsight as well, I would say there were some risks that were underrated that probably should have come to the top 10. If I look at business continuity, for example, it currently ranks as number 9. But with the backdrop of the COVID issue, perhaps this should have been one of the top 3 risks that we should be looking at in Nigeria. Crude price volatility as well. It was ranked as number 17. It's only in the oil and gas industry that they rank this as number 1 risk for them. All the other industry players that participated in this didn't see it as a major risk. But with what we are seeing now, with oil price going so low, it's clear that crude oil price volatility is a major issue that we need to contend with, particularly for us in Nigeria. HSE is also another on health, safety, and environment. We are all facing the COVID pandemic. The health of our staff, the safety of our staff is key for us. Even if the lockdown were to be lifted, can we really get back to business operations immediately? What about the staff that don't have cars and need to be able to enter into public transportation? People are living in very densely populated areas. What's going to happen to them? How do we ensure their safety? How do we ensure that they have the right health mechanisms that have been put in place? These are areas that we still need to look at. And lastly, the disruptive business model. We've seen a lot of disruptions to business model of organizations as a result of technology. This has come to stay. In fact, I was thinking yesterday that a lot of us are now beginning to buy tomatoes online to be able to have food at home. We've never done that before. A lot of businesses have gone digital. We can now purchase a lot of things online. What's going to happen after all of this? Are we not getting into a culture that has come to stay? Will a lot of businesses not need to improve their digital footprint and get online as well, as opposed to the old traditional way of doing things?
Yes, just a quick one before I let you go. What strategic actions for risk management are you suggesting for corporates at this time?
One, there's a need to go back to the drawing board and relook our enterprise risk management framework to ensure that it's comprehensive, it caters for all of the risks that we've looked at, and it can indeed put businesses to manage and optimize their risk. If you look at the report for each of the top 10 risks, we've actually articulated mitigating strategies. But if I were to speak specifically to now, because of the COVID, I would say they need to look at their cost profile. There's a need to optimize the costs of businesses to ensure that we keep a tight control on costs and also manage non-generating areas of the business. There's a need to manage working capital. Cash is king at this time, especially because we are not able to grow the top line. There's a need to also reconfigure the supply chain and ensure backward integration where needed, or relook the ways we are able to get goods, and a number of other things you can see in the reports.
All right, that's where we'll leave that conversation for now. Tomi Adepoju, partner in the Risk Consulting Department of KPMG.